horrors of slavery are unimaginable, and one enslaved man on Long Island in the 18th century gave us a rare glimpse into his views on slavery and freedom through poetry.
CBS 2's Carolyn Gusoff introduces us to Jupiter Hammon, the first published Black American poet.
Perched high on Long Island's North Shore, this 260-year-old estate, the Joseph Lloyd Manor, built on a large plantation in what's now Lloyd Neck. The Lloyd family of merchants lived in luxury.
A lot of the architectural features in this room are really intended for the Lloyds to show off their wealth.
But in the back of the house, out of view,
Ceiling is much shorter in this room. It's much darker.
enslaved people slept.
Enslaved people could be hidden, but at the same time, they were really everywhere.
Among the dozen enslaved people who served the Lloyds, one of them was doing what's hard to imagine. Jupiter Hammon, born into bondage in 1711, was writing poetry.
Dark and dismal was the day when slavery began. All humble thoughts were put away, then slaves were made by man.
Hammon learned to read and write because in New York, where 1 in 5 people were enslaved, literacy was not banned. It was permitted to read the Bible.
What he did get out of it was that slavery was a sin, but it was a sin that had to be endured. Later on, his works started to really emphasize the brutality of slavery.
He is a founder of African American literature. He is writing about liberty, slavery before, during, and after the American Revolution.
The Lloyds published his religious writings, but not his essay on slavery, a pointed indictment written in his own hand, providing the rare perspective of a person viewed as property.
Although we are in slavery, bound by the yoke of man, we must always have a single eye and do the best we can.
And it says written by Jupiter Hammon. He is proclaiming his identity, his humanity, despite living within a system that essentially functioned to deny him personhood.
Poet Malik Work breathed life into Hammon's words.
His enslavers are the only reason why he became published. So he's walking a very, thin rope to indict slavery, but also need his enslavers to pass this poetry on to the rest of the world.
In his address to enslaved New Yorkers,
he says, "If we should ever get to heaven, we shall find nobody to reproach us for being black or for being slaves. Slavery is a sin not created by God, but created by man."
For years, visitors to the historical site heard only about the powerful Lloyd family.
There was really no mention. It was sort of, this is where the slaves were, and let's go to the next room.
Hammon's words now speak to visitors. The Jupiter Hammon Project, launched by Preservation Long Island with years of community input, tells the story of generations of people forced into bondage.
To make sure that enslaved voices that were silenced, that their voices can now be heard.
I don't doubt that he knew that 250 years later we'd be reading his thoughts, a testament to the power of the human spirit.
Jupiter Hammon's death was as exceptional as his life. He lived till 90 at a time life expectancy for enslaved people was under 50. He penned 6 poems and 3 essays, and more could still be found. In Lloyd Neck, Long Island, Carolyn Gusoff, CBS 2 News.
What a story. And Jupiter Hammon was one of only 2 enslaved African Americans to have their writings published in the 18th century. The other was Phyllis Wheatley, whose writings are much more well known. And you can watch our special Black History is American History tomorrow night at 5:30. More of that kind of storytelling coming your way, including an interview I got to have with Martin Luther King III.
Wow.
He is insightful. He is thoughtful. He talks about his dad and his mom, obviously his family life. He also has a couple jokes. Really? Kind of funny. So yes, it's a fascinating conversation. Outstanding show. Hope you check it out tomorrow, 5:30 right here on CBS 2.
Looking forward to it.